queens, and welcome to Glow Get It, where strong women shine among those who never believed she could. I am your host, Gwendolyn B.
And I am your host, Raeshonda J.
Let's glow.
So today we will be discussing, or it is Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Yes.
So we will be discussing, and we have a special guest here that will talk about the ins and outs of human trafficking, where it occurs, how we can avoid becoming victims of that. And I would just like to welcome her here.
Welcome here. We have Miss Bonnie Wheeler. Thank you for joining us today. Miss Bonnie, but before we get to that, let's get to this. So, Glow Getter Queens, don't fake it till you make it. Face it till you make it. Because, baby, you got what it takes and you are the real deal. So get up, work hard. If you fall, honey, get back up again and start over. Face it again. Repeat as often as needed because you got that glow and is anchored in grace.
I love that. I love that. So, we would like to welcome our guest today. Are you going to tell them about her, or should we let her speak about her experience?
Well, I think that I know for sure that Miss Bonnie is amazing, and she is a wonderful advocate for human trafficking rights of victims and so many other things that affect women every day that need to be addressed. I know that she is law enforcement for more than 20 plus years. She is a wonderful human being who cares about the universe. But, of course, we'll let her tell her story.
All right, Miss Bonnie.
My story is it's something simple. I am a people person. I love youth, I love women, and I think that it's our job as women, as mothers, as business women, it's our job to keep one another safe. And being compassionate and being passionate about kids, I think that it's important that we educate ourselves and educate our children and everyone around us about the dangers of human trafficking.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. We definitely need to do this, and especially right now because it is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, but this is every day. We're hearing more stories, and we're hearing more stories in communities that never thought that they would see stories like this. You think of these type of things in major, large cities at major events, but now it's happening in small towns and small events. It's just global, and we have to address it. And today our goal is, within 30 minutes, which will be hard to do, is to give you the most important facts that we can possibly think about to help you prevent yourself and your loved ones from becoming a victim of human trafficking.
And to our audience that are listening to us, please let everyone know about today's topic. Share it. Share the video if you're watching us on live. It is very important that people are aware of what is going on and how we can help in this.
Absolutely. So, Ms. Bonnie, tell us, what exactly is human trafficking?
Okay, well, what I'll say is the United Nations defines human trafficking as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons for improper means such as force, abduction, fraud, or coercion for an improper purpose, including forced labor or sexual exploitation.
Okay.
That's a mouthful, is it not?
It is a mouthful. So that means that you take someone or you have them do things that they are not willing to do on their own.
Correct. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't want to do on my own,
right,
but nobody's forcing me.
Right, exactly.
I can freely walk away from whatever I don't want to do.
So it's definitely forms of coercion, abduction, fraud, deception, and the purpose is exploitation.
Absolutely.
Perfect. That's what human trafficking is. It's a mouthful, I know, but by the end of this show, I'm sure that you will have more information that you can use about it. So right now, I want you to tell us, there are some types of human trafficking, because it is one thing, but there are subsegments of human trafficking. Like there can be labor human trafficking or domestic service human trafficking. The two that we're going to talk about today are what are the two main ones?
We're going to look at labor trafficking and we're going to look at sex trafficking, because those are the two major things that you're going to see. If you say, what is labor trafficking? Well, labor trafficking would be if someone is forcing you to work what they say modern day slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring someone into your home and you force them to work, maybe for the cost of what it costs to bring them over from whatever state, or not state, but country,
Right.
from wherever they're from.
Mm-hmm.
Or you say you're going to work to pay back whatever it costs to bring your family here,
Okay.
or some type
Okay.
of debt that you owe.
Okay, perfect. So tell us, so you just mentioned it a little bit about who are the victims. So originally I thought that this was something that happened, overseas, or that the victims were taken overseas, but that's not necessarily fact, that's more myth. Tell us, who are the victims of human trafficking?
Victims can be anyone. Your typical age is going to be 12 to 17, but victims can be anybody. I don't care if it's boy, girl, man, or woman.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can be a victim of human trafficking. Like cancer, there is no distinction between
Right.
who you are, where you come from, or how much money you have.
Okay.
That's a great analogy. It's perfect. So are there particular individuals that are more targeted than others?
That's what I was going to ask, because it seems in movies and in watching the news, it's always women or children. I rarely see men. I know that they are
Mm-hmm.
victims also. So is it a specific target group or specific demographics of people that
Are more likely to be victims of human trafficking?
More likely, you're going to hear about young girls.
Okay.
Again, ages 12 to 17. You do see some that are younger. They target those who have very low self-esteem. I think we all tend to have some sort of low self-confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but a perpetrator or someone who is preying on children, they're going to look to see who's weak or who they think is weak.
okay?
So I think for me, I feel like I saw somewhere that they like to see children who maybe have run away from home, or that don't have a parent or an adult there with them at the time that they are trying to grab these young people.
Right.
Also people who don't have support, people
Right.
who are by themselves.
Right. So you think, as you said, children who run away from home, children who are maybe in the foster care system, or a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
So mom's at work or whatever, and the child's been, having
Right,
to
they
fend
know
for
that the
themselves.
child is
Right.
by themselves.
Yes. So the child looks for things to do because they're on their own. They maybe go to the mall, or they hang out with friends, or they get involved in the wrong circles of people, and you never know what they're going to open themselves up to.
Right. And now tell me this, is it always have to be violence? Does it always have to be violence involved, or can it just be that they just grab someone and it's not about having them do violent things or do violent things to them? Like they could actually just grab someone and have them literally almost quote unquote be their slave and do things that like clean for them or cater to them, and it doesn't always end up as a violent thing. Of course, the whole act of human trafficking is violent, but they don't actually harm the person once they get them. Sometimes they do, but not all the time. It's different levels of that. So it's just like the cancer. Sometimes the cancer is there, and it is you can take care of it and get rid of it, and sometimes it's one that you cannot do anything with, that it's going to kill you. So you have the traffickers who don't want to kill people, basically, is what I'm saying. They just want to keep them forever and have them as their slave. Trafficking doesn't always end in killing, does it?
Well, no, because the goal, it's supply and demand.
Right.
What's one thing that you can use over and over and over and over? when, let's say, a person who sells drugs, they've sold that drug, they've made their money. They can't resell that drug.
Okay.
But you take a human being, they will resell that person repeatedly, the use of their body.
Right.
Whether it's for labor or whether it's for sexual exploitation.
Right.
It's that constant resell, supply and demand.
Right. Okay. And that's one of the things that I was going to ask as far as, because you said, what I was thinking, the reason why they get them so young is for the longevity of able to resell or reuse, or the people that are on the ground taking people are not necessarily the people that are directly benefiting from that person.
Well, if you think about it, when you start at a young age, they groom.
Okay.
So you take someone young, you want to mold them, you want to shape them, you want to teach them to do what you want them to do.
Okay.
So if they're growing up and they're understanding that they think this is the norm, you get less resistance as they age.
Okay. Gotcha.
So you're teaching them what you want them to do. You're the one making the money. This child never sees it. They may never learn skills that help them develop into a good adult that knows how to take care of themselves. So then they're reliant upon.
So that's great. That's exactly, I know I rambled on, but I think that's what I was trying to say, is sometimes they just use manipulation and things like that to keep them there.
Yes.
Because they are now dependent upon them.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here, because we are learning a great deal from this, and it's so important to share with our friends and family. So we just want to make sure that everything we say, that you say, we take it in, and that we can use it to help someone else. So I really appreciate that. So thank you for that clarification. Tell me, Bonnie,
Tiffany,
where does human trafficking take place? Well, you were going to tell us something else.
Yeah, I want to back up to something that you were saying. So you were talking about the violence. Human trafficking is very traumatic on any level.
Okay, yes.
And no, it doesn't necessarily mean that every act is a violent act, but we have to understand that any victim of human trafficking, no matter what level, that they're brought into it because they're being manipulated. You know, that fear, that shame, all of those things that you think, okay, why doesn't she get away? Whatever. You know, maybe they feel like they can't. You know, so you've got the force, the coercion, the manipulation. You have all of these things that are controlling this young adult or this young child because they don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
so
traumatic.
The violence, it may not necessarily be a physical violence, but you got that mental and that psychological.
Right, exactly. You know, mental abuse and
Then you have the resistance. You have those that will resist. So then you have the drugs and the alcohol that come into play. Because if you're not going to do what I want you to do, I'm going to find a way to make you do what I want you to do.
Now, I have read about that. I have read about those that resist or don't get away. Most of them are hooked on drugs involuntarily as a form of control because it's an addiction, right? So now that you've gotten me addicted to this product or whatever, and you take it away from me, you know, in order for it to get more, you have to do what I say. Right. So that was another thing that I had been researching in this. And what I was trying to say earlier is that sometimes the people that are on the ground taking people, sometimes the child or the person is passed along to, there's another person.
They're actually working for
just like
one who's
just like you said about the drug selling drugs, right? You've passed the product on to somebody else. So that's what I was saying. They don't necessarily stay with the people or the person that has taken them. It was for a reason for someone else to use and manipulate and groom. So we have to get to the root of that. Whoever these high-paying people are that are behind it, because typically it's not the people that are. They get paid for taking people, but that is not the root. Just like the drug dealer on the corner is not the root. It's not the root to the main issue.
That's a very good point, Raeshonda. Absolutely. getting to the bottom of it and getting to the people who are actually running the show